Hello everyone, welcome to the video for project portfolio management. So this is an Oracle Fusion offering which offers comprehensive functionalities within projects areas. So if your organization is into projects management or it's handling more of a project-based operations, then PPM is the module which can be utilized and it can effectively results give results to you. So this particular offering was earlier there in initial earlier version, prior version, which is R12, which used to be called as a project accounting module. Now it's called as a project portfolio management. In this particular offering, there are two major areas. One is project financial management and other one is project execution management. So why PPM cloud is being used is, as I mentioned, if you are operating into the projects area, if you want to capture the cost, if you want to generate the revenues, if you want to define the budgets, and if you want to catch the the labor rates, the project resources, the revenue tracking, different portfolios, if you want to capture and track, this is the module or this is the offering that can be utilized within this particular module. If you call where this stands, so if you are already aware of accounts payable and accounts receivable module, this particular area is kind of a standing in between these two modules. So if you are already making a purchases, if you are already making the payments to your vendors, if you're already having contracts with your suppliers, and on the other hand, if you're already having contracts with your customers, if you're already billing them, you might already be entering the purchase orders, the requisitions, you might already be performing the payable invoices related activities. On the other hand, you might already be having the customer contracts. You might have signed on the contract terms. Within the contract, you might be executing some of the activities or a kind of multiple task or a projects, and then you might already be billing them based on your contract value. But overall, if these activities are getting performed, organization would like to track for which particular project these activities are happening. In that case, the PPM module comes into the picture. So in a nutshell, you can think of a project. A project can be created for any software industry or any, for example, a construction of a building or any internal project. You can create a project into Oracle Fusion and you can track the related activities, and then you can also bill your customer or a client for that particular project. That is what it can cover into this particular offering. So if you see here within the project financial management, all you can see is the project control, project costing, project billing, project contracts, and performance reporting. Within execution management, you kind of talk about project management, the task management, and the resources management. So looking at the names, you would realize that these are all essential parts of any project execution or any project management. So it's not about the project manager stuff, but it's all about end-to-end tracking of any project lifecycle. Okay, so now coming to project control or project costing activities. So this is a diagram or a graph, a diagram which will, give you an idea on the flow, the data flow that happens within the costing areas. So what happens is that you would see here a purchasing, payables, cost management, time and labor. So these are the modules who will contribute as a project cost. So if you can imagine on POs that you are issuing to your vendors because you are purchasing a material for a specific project, then you are paying that for that material, then you are having any other inventory cost. And if you are also having your labor cost, which the resources that are already working onto the project. So if you're tracking their time, that also can be brought in based on the labor rates, the cost rates and the bill rates can be considered later, and that cost gets collected. So what happens is that you would have already created a project, you would assign the resources, and then you would track this different cost. You would have a budget defined for that particular project. That's an optional one, but you can define that. You would have a cost budget and a revenue budget also. You get this cost captured, you then transfer that particular cost to the GL. Of course, you can capture the cost related to the assets as well. So that is what the costing or a control part will cover overall. So these are the different areas we have noted down over here. In terms of the project billing, you would see the different areas. So you will have a contract or an agreement signed with your customer. So let's talk about the sell contracts in this particular scenario. So of course, when you sign any contract with your client, you would know what is the client name, what's the contract value, what are your payment terms, what are different items or different tasks that you're going to cover as part of your contract. So those will be your deliverables. What is your billing plan, etc. activities will be tracked into your contract. So once that contract is created, you can also tag different projects, because one contract may have a uh, different project. So for example, if I take any contract, IT contract signed with the client, he wants that vendor to execute an implementation projects and then also support project. Then you might want to sign one particular contract, and then you may have two different projects. One is an implementation project, and then later the support projects will come into the picture, right? So the billing controls, the bill plan, the revenue plan, they will all be defined into the contracts and get utilized when you execute a contract with help of a project. So once you have the project, once you have already tracked your cost, you distribute that cost, then what happens is you generate your revenue, you bill your client, right? So those that generate invoices, that invoice generation will happen within the contract, enterprise contract module or the offering. It will then be available to interface to the accounts receivable module, and from there it will travel to general ledger. Similarly, you can generate your revenue. Now a revenue can be generated based on the different rules that you set up into your contract, or yes, into your contract, and then again it can be transferred to your general ledger. So this is your contracts and the billing related activities that happens within project financial management, right? So that's what I said earlier. The PPM module kind of sits in between AP and AR, or the purchasing side and a receivable side, is what you consider, because it talks majorly to both these areas and executes the transactions. So it helps you to track your expenses, your purchase, then your time, and then your billing to the client, every project wise. Okay, so you don't have to then think of, oh, what this revenue is generated from which activities, or this purchase was made for what purpose. So you would, if you are utilizing the project, you would know, okay, so if I take example of the earlier scenario where you have an implementation project, so if your resources are traveling to the client side, then the expenses gets incurred, and you would know that this particular travel had happened for my implementation project, which is not for the support project. So I will have my budget defined for the implementation project, and according to that I can track. And if I when I bill my customer, I would know that for uh, phases that are getting completed into my implementation projects, those are the ones I'm getting are getting billed. It's not the billing for your support engagement or your BAU engagement. So that is those are the benefits of having a projects module. So in short, this is the overview on the different functionalities that you have, and these are the integrations which we just talked about. So a project module is sending a data to receivables, it is also sending a data to your fixed asset, and then it is also sending directly to your general ledger. But the contributing modules, of course, the OTL module, your time and labor, you can track your uh, labor hours, and it can directly be interfaced to projects. Your inventory cost can directly be captured, or in inventory, and then purchasing the POs to payables can be also captured into the projects, and your payroll cost can also be captured here. So these are the integrations available with projects module. Now in projects execution management, what gets covered is the resourcing part. So you definitely have to define your resources and assign those resources to your projects. You kind of do a task management, so you can assign different tasks to your project resources and track the status or track the progress of them. You can going back to this first slide, so you can do your project management. So project management definitely comes with a different KPIs and dashboards where you would be able to see the different factors. So when you create a project, you definitely assign some KPIs. So we'll see that in the later part of the videos, how the setups are done. But the task management and the resource management is what is getting covered, along with the different KPIs and dashboards that are available for any project manager in the project execution management. As an offering, this all comes together. These are just two separate areas functionality wise, so do not get confused if these are two different offerings. It's only one particular offering. Again, that is a part of the financial offering, the ERP offering that is available within the Fusion, right? So this is an overview of the project performance management, that is a PPM module for you. Hope this is very much clear, and as we go forward we will look into the setups and configurations required for any PPM module. We already have uh, an area configured. We will walk through those setups, and you would understand how the setups are done and how those setups will help you achieve your project PPM functionalities. So that's it for this particular video. Thank you for watching.